too long, her stories have been buried, and her truth edited by a world that feared her power. You're listening to Sovereign Reality with Natalie. We are here to unearth the goddess, because her story is your story, and her rise is your reclamation. This is about you, authentically and fully you, recognizing your own divinity and stepping back onto your throne. Because the world doesn't need you quiet, babe.
Boss ass bitch. Boss bitch. Boss ass.
Hi friends, welcome back. Let's start this episode by just taking a deep breath and unclenching our jaw and stepping into the soft light of early spring. That liminal shimmer where the earth is still half asleep, but something ancient is stirring beneath the frost. Today we are walking with Eostra. Yes, the Germanic goddess whose name blossomed into Easter, but whose true story was buried under centuries of political maneuvering, Christian rewriting, and of course, patriarchal edits, so sloppy that they'd make a historian weep into her quill. Yet she lives, and she rises, and she absolutely still has things to say. As long as I'm still here, she has things to say. I decided to pair Eostra with the yogic principle of Santosha. Santosha is the art of contentment. In its simplest terms, you could think of it as like the deep exhale of trusting what's unfolding, even when you can't see the whole path yet. Of course, we'll get deeper into it when we get to our yoga off the mat portion of this episode. But for the sake of introductions, Eostra and Santosha just vibed with one another. And mostly because Eostra knows a thing or two about beginnings that don't show their cards all at once. She is so much like the energy of the leap of faith. She's like the Fool card in the tarot deck. So before we get into all of that, let's talk a little bit about her story. So before her name was stolen and softened and turned into this pastel greeting card, Eostra was actually kind of more of a force. She's a dawn goddess and a hinge point deity. I mean, basically, she's sort of the one who cracks winter open like an egg so that new life can crawl through. Eostra belonged to the land and to the women who read its rhythms. She belonged to midwives and herbalists, priestesses, and old foremothers who knew spring wasn't something that quote-unquote happened to them. It was something that they helped to call in. Eostra was invoked for new ventures, for bold choices, fertility of the soil and of the spirit. She was invoked for transitions and for threshold moments. She was also the original patroness of that moment where you say, okay, I'm scared, but we're going to do this anyway. But, of course, patriarchal history, it was uncomfortable with a goddess who wasn't meek and maternal or easily contained. So they did what they always do, and they shrank her. They turned her into a seasonal decoration, half-remembered myth, and a footnote scholars argued about instead of a being women knew intimately. And the women who carried her story, many lost their safety, their autonomy, and their voices across centuries of Christianization, so Eostra's myth dimmed. But here's the thing, even when the stories go silent, the energy never does. And the women who love her, They're remembering again. You are remembering again. Much like spring itself, Eostra's energy is not loud or grandiose. She's more subtle, steady, and honest. She's sort of like that flutter in your belly before the leap, the moment you stop overthinking and just plant the seed. She teaches us that beginnings are awkward, that rebirth is messy. She teaches us that trusting the process is an act of bravery, and that hope is a discipline, not a mood. Yes, there are hairs and eggs associated with her. These are ancient symbols of abundance, fertility, and renewal. You didn't really think those were associated with Jesus, did you? I know I grew up Catholic, and I was always just like, wait a second. Like, where do all these other things come into play, right? Like Easter eggs and chickens and like Jesus wasn't out hiding Easter eggs. Anyway, and these are not just like cute decorations, right? They're reminders that life regenerates when we follow our instincts. Eostra whispers, begin before you feel ready. So let's talk about Eostra and Santosha and how these two correlate. Santosha is a Sanskrit word meaning contentment. It's a key yogic virtue, a niyama, focused on cultivating gratitude, acceptance, and inner peace in the present moment, regardless of external circumstances. It involves finding fulfillment in what one has rather than seeking constant outward validation. It is the second niyama or ethical observance in Patanjali's Eightfold Path, encouraging inner contentment. And it goes beyond more superficial happiness, providing a sustainable, peaceful state of mind. Santosha emphasizes turning inward and recognizing that contentment comes from within, not from external possessions. So some examples of Santosha on the mat would be maybe appreciating your body in a posture exactly how it is, right? Not needing it to look a certain way or be a certain way for you to have gratitude for it, or desiring it to be more advanced in order for you to appreciate it. In daily life, I'm sure you can already understand how Santosha would work, but it can be choosing to feel grateful for what you have, your current situations, rather than dwelling on limitations or longing for the next thing. Santosha can also be used in challenging times as well, by using gratitude to navigate rather than battle difficult life situations. And Santosha can also be used in mindfulness practices by turning to sensations like breathing or listening when overwhelmed to find a sense of inner quiet joy. So I want to be very clear that Santosha is not passive happiness or spiritual bypassing. It's not pretending that you love your circumstances when you absolutely do not. Santosha is the inner stillness that lets you say, I don't know where this is going yet, but I'm willing to trust the part of me that wants to grow. It's the soft, grounded acceptance that frees up energy for change. When you stand at the edge of a new beginning, do you let yourself settle into the moment, or do you start sprinting mentally into every possible outcome? Do you resist the unknown, or can you let yourself soften into the becoming? Eostra teaches us that contentment is not the opposite of ambition, but rather it's the soil in which courage takes root. I don't know about you, dear listener, but I imagine that you've had many, many new beginnings throughout your life. Maybe some were chosen consciously, maybe some of them were chosen for you by external circumstances that you maybe didn't quite feel ready for, right? Those ones are always very, very tricky. I think even consciously made new beginnings can always feel tricky as well, And there is always that level of like, I'm not quite ready for this. But I think the ones that we're not quite ready for, those were, for me at least, I can't speak for everybody, but those are the ones that I struggle with the most. Those are the ones that I find I resist the most, or where I find moments of resistance the most, where I struggle with Santosha the most. It's easy to get wrapped up in moments where change is being forced upon us, where a new beginning is being forced upon us. Things are ending. Endings are truly just new beginnings in disguise. Painful as they may feel, as challenging as they may feel, but sometimes, more often, that is the place where I tend to struggle the most with Santosha. So one of the things that I had mentioned with that is using gratitude to navigate rather than battle difficult life situations, right? And so my practice with that has shifted as I've gone throughout life, different situations. And of course, I go through my hissy fits. I say that with laughter. Half the time I have to wonder if my guides are just like, oh my God. But sometimes I do. I have my little tantrums and I cry and I get really sad or scream into a pillow or whatever I need to do to get the boo-hoos out, I don't know. I don't spiritually bypass. I really try to refrain from doing that. I feel my feelings in a healthy way. I do my best with that anyway. I'm not perfect at it. Sometimes I have, done things that I'm not proud of, hurt people that, it's just, I think, a part of being human, unfortunately. Of course, I make amends when and where I can. Thankfully, I'm grateful that people have been receptive. Certain people are not. But at the end of the day, once I have gotten the psychological part taken care of, once I've been able to navigate the darkness, once I'm able to move through the anger, the bitterness, the everything that the human part of me needs to feel, then I can come to a place of, okay, I trust that this is happening for me, not to me. All of this is happening for me. I may not understand it. I may not know why. And as much as I love to know, I did my dissertation on the subconscious and the power of your subconscious and how we are the ultimate creators of our reality and how we create 99.9% of our reality from our subconscious. And sometimes I'm like, wow, why would I create this? Right? Me. Someone who literally did a dissertation on this, still creating some things that I don't like. How is this possible? So now I'm looking at my current circumstances and I'm realizing that all of my current circumstances are a result of past assumptions held in my subconscious. Okay, herein lies the work. So now all of this stuff needs to be cleared out clearly. I need to start working on some new beliefs. And so it begins or continues, whatever it is for me. I hope I haven't lost you. But going back to the topic here of Santosha and contentment and gratitude, hey, you know what? I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that I get to see all of the garbage, all of this muck that I'm unknowingly hanging on to in my subconscious. That I am so blessed that I am given an opportunity right now to course correct. That all of this stuff that I'm witnessing, it is my past, yes, but I'm given an opportunity now to correct it. All right, so now we correct. We start shaping a new narrative inside of my subconscious. I start listening to new subliminals. I start telling myself a new story day in and day out. Even though I might be looking at my current circumstances and I might be seeing the opposite of what I want, I can acknowledge it and I can say, yeah, that's there. This isn't about like, there's a little level to being Delulu. Okay, I'm not going to, but we do have to tend to what we've created. All right. But we can also say, okay, let's start telling ourselves a new story here. So everybody's news story is going to be different. Your situation is different than mine, but that's how I use my gratitude once I have moved through my human emotions around my creations that I don't like, because I've done it, because I do it. Again, it's part of the human experience. And I would be lying to you if I were to sit here and be like, oh, I've never created anything that I don't like. That's so silly. No, I have. I've created plenty of things that I don't like. Plenty. It's too many to count, really. So I'm grateful now that I understand. I mean, I feel like I kind of understand a little bit more about metaphysics in general. I mean, I've got a doctorate in it. Am I perfect at it? No. Do I think I ever will be? No. There is no perfect human. So I think, if anything, yoga teaches us that, though. That's the beauty of yoga. It's a practice. On and off the mat, it's a practice. And we are forgiven. Every single day we are forgiven, because that is a part of the human experience. We are loved and we are forgiven for our mistakes. The only sin is that we forget that we are so loved, and we are love in a human body. We are the essence of love in a human body. And that is the only sin that we carry, that we forget. So anyway, I don't mean to get into that tangent, but I guess if we also want to look at it that way too, it gives us the added connection to Eostra, right? The new beginning every day. And just like at the end of our yoga practice, we end it with Shavasana, corpse pose. We let die what needs to die. We turn over onto our right side in the fetal position, a new beginning, Eostra. A different version of ourselves already. And that's life. Every breath is an opportunity for a new beginning. So, I guess new beginnings and big leaps of faith, they don't have to always be associated with Eostra. Her energy is available to us all the time, every moment. It's everywhere. That said, though, if you are in a big transition, if you are going through something massive, if you are in your cocoon stage, your chrysalis, and you're getting ready to emerge and be that butterfly, she might be a terrific energy to call upon to help you as you transition. And with that said, if you wanted to work on this as more of an embodiment somatic practice, and you're listening to this anywhere other than YouTube, you can head over to my YouTube channel and practice my Eostra's Deep Goddess Yin practice. We explore new beginnings through supported Hanumanasana and journaling and the sacred pause before the leap. This is really just an embodiment of Eostra's energy. And of course, if you are actually listening on YouTube, then you should be able to find the video here on my YouTube channel. Anyway, if today's journey stirred something inside of you, please make sure that you are on my email list. That's where I send the monthly goddess ritual and energy snapshots, as well as the subliminal for the month. Be sure to visit my YouTube channel for weekly yoga videos. Lately, I've been doing a lot more Kundalini style yoga and associating each of the kriyas with different goddesses, which has been a lot of fun. Some 5-minute activations, some 15-minute activations. I might get into some longer ones here soon. But for now, that's what we've got. So may the soft light of dawn settle into your bones. May the seeds you plant, seen and unseen, feel held by the earth beneath you. May you trust the quiet beginnings, the ones that don't announce themselves, but still change everything. And may you always remember that the world doesn't need you quiet, babe.
Boss ass bitch.
Thank you for walking with me today. Remember, the goddess isn't a myth you're learning. She is a power you are remembering. So go out into the world today and take up your space. Don't filter your truth and don't apologize for who you are. I'm Natalie, and this is Sovereign Reality. Be bold and be authentically and fully you, because the world doesn't need you quiet, babe.